This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
Well, hello, Captain. How are you this week?
I am good, Miss Peggy. Anytime I got a chance to hang out with the DC wench, it's always a good day, and it makes for festive spirits here in the heart. So remember, I got to do the quick shameful plugs. Okay, if you like what you see, please please share, please share. Put this out for everybody out there in the air, because we are talking the captain, the DC wench, and occasionally we have our other wench on as well. But for those that are waiting on HEIDI, I will deflect to say that HEIDI is a little under the weather. She might come in later, but that's okay. That's okay. Just as long as you don't have to listen to me talk all night, because that's just unbearable. That's why we got the DC wench, Peggy. We are talking Raiders. And remember, if you like what you see, like, share. And if you want to support the program, support the show, you want to get those entries into the treasure chest, it's right down here. You can give a $5 super chat or super sticker on YouTube. You can send $5 via Cash App to $ Captain Jack Rackham, or $5 friends and family on PayPal. And I'll be honest, I'm not greedy, but I actually prefer the Cash App and the friends and family, because I get all that. YouTube doesn't take that damn chunk out of things. So that's the way that is. But we got lots of prizes going on. Peggy, how have you been? It's been a month, because
I know I missed our last meeting business call, but over the last couple of weeks, of course, I've been watching other people's draft boards, since I can't watch the Raider draft board rounds 1 and 2. We have to watch to see who's going to be waiting for us. And I wanted to get your thoughts on that, because, of course, third round, You know, what do we have? I have an interesting study to share with people about the retention rate rounds 3 through 7 over the years of players over 5 years. The first year, a third round pick, 96% of them are still on the team. By the second year, 75%. Third year, 62%. By the fourth year, only 37% of your third round picks are still around. And this is compared to your first and second round picks, 77% and 74%. This is year 4. Of course, isn't that the year of the contract, Captain Jack, when the contracts usually roll over?
Yep, that's depend. Like first round picks usually get that 4-year plus, because they're a first rounder. They get that option for the 5th year. You know, usually it's a team option to pick them up, but that's the thing. You know, that's why you lock up those guys in the first round, because you get them for 5 years. If you really want to keep them 4+1, usually it's the team option. And then, like I said, everybody else it's a 4-year. And it could be less. It could be less. Normally, like a second round pick, you usually give them a 3 to 4 year contract or whatnot, depending on
the numbers in the polling, and this is from a 2014 poll at University of Denver. But I can trust those ponies.
You're stealing my jokes, man.
I can trust them ponies to move the numbers around correctly. But I just wanted to point out rounds 3 through 7 picks experience almost a 50% difference in retention rate by year 4. And the lower in the rounds you get, as you get to round 5, usually most of them are gone by year 3. Round 6, only 35%. Excuse me. Yeah, round 6, by year 3, only 35% are left. And of course, round 7, only 31% are left. Matter of fact, round 7 experiences, of course, the biggest drop even in year 1. Only 58% of them make the team. I mean, I'm just looking at that in terms of, now the Raiders are stuck with round 3 to 7 unless they come up with a miracle trade. Are you thinking about trading up to rounds 1 and 2, Captain? What are you thinking about?
Well, I did see an interesting subject or interesting story today, and it was dealing with compensation picks. Mm-hmm. And you know how the guys we have on staff used to be out in Boston way, and they usually have been very good at picking up compensation picks. And one of the things that they do in order to get comp picks is how they pick up their free agents and how they divvy things out. Now, if I'm not mistaken, there's a point in time, and I'm not sure when that point in time is. It's normally like around May. Maybe it's, like May or June, because remember, there's that second round of free agency usually is like the post June 1st, because the Raiders are going to get that $20 million for some more influx of Monet, kind of like the Count of Monet, Mel Brooks.
I was kind of thinking about, you being the GM, Captain, and you packaging up.
I got a package, but we're talking
to see if we could jump back into the first or second round. What are you thinking about? I got a package ready for either the Giants or the Eagles or even the Lions, because they've all got 2 first-round picks.
You're giving me material, Peggy, with all of this packaging talk, and I'm being kind. But
hey, put a bow on it.
Well, I will for the right person at the right time. Anyway,
that's right.
Anyway, I'm kind of. It's one of those things where I want.
You're the GM. I want you to come up. Give me. You're talking to the Giants or the Eagles or, God forbid, the Chiefs, who also have 2 first-round picks.
Well, we can put them out of the equation. They're not going to be trading with us for any of those.
Well, you never know. But I mean, let's think about it. You're trying to get back into the first or the second round. The Bears have two.
Yeah.
Bears are our bosom pals, right?
Right. And
They
see,
have two second-round picks.
And that is if I'm the GM, the price to jump into the first round this year with no collateral other than, and I'm gonna address the elephant in the room other than me. Although I've lost a little bit of weight. Okay, the elephant in the room is, and everybody was saying the only big collateral that we have to jump into the first round is a gentleman by the name of Darren Waller. Okay. It was, and okay, hear me out. I
can see that. I mean, I'm working with you. I was thinking more Josh Jacobs, but anyway.
Well, but see, I don't think Jacobs has the collateral.
Ooh.
And the reason why I said for a first round pick, no, Jacobs does not have the collateral. Jacobs has the collateral for the second round, and I will get to that in my next statement.
Mm-hmm.
Now this has only been hypothesized. Okay.
Give me a package, Cap.
No,
I want a package.
Wait, no. We got an hour plus to fill, so I got things to talk about. Okay. The thing is that, and when we got the trade for Davante Adams, I had it from a very good source, and he did tell me, but before the trade came through, he said, "Captain, I got it on good authority. The Raiders are getting Davante Adams," and it was before the trade, and he was correct. Now he said it was going to be for X, Y, and Darren Waller. Okay. Now that did not come true in fruition because apparently there are rules about trading for a player that had a franchise tag. So there are rules of the trade that was not able to come about. But Darren Waller's name was put out there by this person that gave me that information that the Raiders were going to get Davante Adams about 36 hours before it actually occurred. So he's got good sourcing.
Well, then you can X out the Lions. They've got Hawkins. And, of course, you can X out the Chiefs. They've got Kelsey. That leaves the Giants.
Well, but the thing is that if Darren Waller's name was thrown out then, and that Dave Ziegler was pissed off that he had to give up that second this year because he wanted to keep it. Okay,
I'm sure.
If
we're lucky we got away with just that.
Right. If the Raiders want to jump into the first round, Darren Waller is the only person that is going to fill that bill. So now, if I'm GM, I'm not doing that trade yet.
What are you waiting for? The day of the draft when
no. What I'm waiting for
start doing the swaps.
No, well, unless there is a person on the board that the Raiders just need to have. Mm-hmm. Because remember, their first and second rounders are number 17, Davante Adams. They've already used that collateral. If there is somebody on the board that they want, oh my God, is just the pure epitome.
Take your pick.
Right. But we don't know who that person is because we are not Dave Ziegler and we are not Josh McDaniels. Okay. But if I'm the GM and I'm working with Zig, say Zig's working for me, yo, Zig. Okay. I'm not going to blow a lot of collateral on a first round pick. I'm not going to do it. But I will trade Josh Jacobs for a second.
All right, and what are you going to package up with Jacobs? Because obviously he's not going to be enough to swing somebody. If I'm the Bears, he's not going to be enough. I got Montgomery. I mean, I could use a Josh Jacobs, nice 1-2 punch. Although I think they're similar runners, but what else are you going to give me to entice me?
Well, there's this chart.
I was looking at your 4th round pick.
Okay. Whatever. See, and I don't have. Do you have the chart? The numbers chart where a 2 is equal to this and that? Because there's a.
I don't have that one.
I don't have that, but there is whatever the compensation is, and there will be somebody who says, "Well, yeah, according to the Jimmy Johnson chart from years ago, okay, where they did the numerics for every pick in the draft, okay." And they said that like this guy is worth like 100. Let's say it's 150 points, right? So let's say a pick is worth 100 points and another pick is worth 50 points. So accumulatively, they are worth the 150 that you're trying to get. I did that just for mathematical purposes. Okay.
You know, and I wonder how many GMs actually use that strategy. I think it's who they know. I think it's the buddy system. I think people do deals with people that they know, and it's whatever seems fair. I mean, you're talking about second. Okay, now you want to talk about the second round. And once again, like I said, the Seahawks also have 2 picks in the second round, as well as the Bears. And our friends, even our friends, the Bengals, have 2 picks in the second round. I mean, you're looking at the teams that could spare one.
Right. And normally it's easier to trade out of conference too. Normally,
that's another thing.
Right. I think it's easier because so the Bengals would be less likely. But whereas the Bears, since they're NFC, and the Seahawks, since they're NFC, they would be more likely as trade partners because you're trading out of conference. Now, I'm not saying that the Bengals wouldn't because they are the Super Bowl champs. And according to what many think their team is maybe 1 player away.
But Pete's not going to want Josh Jacobs, okay? Because he's already got, Penny up there. He's got a couple of other running backs, although they spend more time on IR than they do on the field.
Right.
He's not interested in a running back. But a Waller, well, now, that might pique his interest.
Well, but see, if you're talking Waller, I want a first rounder for him.
Well, I know what we want, but they know how desperate we are because we have nothing in the first and second round. Leverage matters too, Captain, in all these. I mean, leverage matters. So, I mean, they know we have nothing in the first round, second round. We're desperate to move up. And I think you're right about the second round. That's where we go. So, now that you've got this second round pick, what position, Captain?
Well,
you can only pick one. I don't want to hear what's going on in your head. I want to hear one.
I want a big, meaty one A and 1B. I want a big, meaty, rush the pocket and destroy the middle defensive tackle with round 2. If I'm going to go there,
that's correct. And actually, I'm going to be specific and go totally out of character. I want a guard or a tackle.
Guard?
Offensive line. I'm sorry. You got your big, shiny Porsche wide receiver. Derrick's got to have time. Derrick's got to have. That's not an option, okay, anymore. You got Devontae Adams. You don't have the option of hoping, praying that on some plays the line gives him 4.5 seconds.
Okay.
6 seconds. You have to have that protection. And that's the one thing that Derrick didn't have last year. It really hurt our deep passing game.
I'm gonna give you the old Jewish guy from Coming to America. Okay. Aha. Mm-hmm. We had Tom Cable as the line coach last year.
He did the best he could. He had straight hot garbage. But we had hot garbage. I don't think anybody, even the great Dante Scarnecchia, right, of the Patriots, their vaunted O-line guru. Joe Bugle. Let me call back the ghost of Joe Bugle. I just don't think anybody could have done anything with Simpson and Brandon Parker.
Okay,
and working with that rookie Leatherwood at the same time.
You're talking last year, okay?
Yeah, right.
And you did invoke the name of Dante Scarnecchia. So I'm going to go. I'm going to say the offshoot. Okay, if we're going to say Dante Scarnecchia is the Godfather, right? Okay, in this scenario, Dante Scarnecchia is. He's going to make you an offer you can't refuse. You know why? Because his son, whose name I can't remember.
I don't want to talk about children, okay? I'm not talking about training in wheels.
This is an analogy. The line coach for the Patriots is the Scarnecchia off-breed.
Yeah.
Okay. He studied under Scarnecchia. He's a Scarnecchiaite. Okay.
Mhm.
So he has that pedigree. I don't remember what his name is. I apologize. But
Well,
it's something Italian. That much I remember.
all I know is it doesn't matter to me. I don't see the sheer talent that I need to
yeah,
see. I'm really worried at guard.
No,
And,
wait. But see,
and right tackle has perennially been a problem.
okay, but I'm gonna let you know that whoever the dude is, and I can't remember his name, somebody look up who the line coach is and put it in the comments. Okay.
Yeah, the Raiders line coach, offensive line coach.
Yeah.
I haven't even gotten familiar with the
Well,
name.
but see, he's an Italian dude that was in the system with the Patriots. Okay, he's a Scarnecchia protege. Okay?
Well, actually, they've got two. He's a Brasillo.
There you go,
Brasillo.
Carmen Brasilla. Okay,
Yeah, and Cameron Clemens is the assistant line
right.
coach.
But Brasilla had Illuminor, some guy that we know. Illuminor actually played well under this guy 2 years ago when he played for the Patriots.
Well, we shall see. I would go if I'm moving up to the second round. I'm at offensive tackle. Now, what if we aren't able to move up? Nobody's impressed with our packages, and we start with the third round. Would you still want a defensive tackle?
BPA.
Now you're at BPA. Even though I got, I'm locked down at certain positions, I still would take another one of them just because they're the best available.
I see what I do is if I'm doing BPA and if they're within spitting distance of each other, I'm doing BPA
and leaving your deficiencies open.
No.
For the fourth and fifth round, right?
I love you, but please freaking let me talk. Okay?
I thought it was the Wenches show.
I know. I got it. But
I swear I thought it was.
I gotta say it though. If you got BPA, right? And for those that don't know, BPA is best player available, right?
Right.
If you got three guys and they have a composite score, let's say of 978, 977, and 976. Okay, let's say we got three guys that are about to have the same level, 978, 977, 976. Then you go BPA of the three guys that you got that are marked at about with spitting distance of each other, really 0.01 and 0.02 from each other. Then you take the BPA of the position of need.
Mm-hmm.
The BPA, if they're within close of a position of need, i.e., if you got BPA and you got a guard sitting there or a defensive tackle or a linebacker, then you say, guys, what do we really need here? Because these guys score out the same. So I'm going BPA of a position of need. It's kind of like a conglomeration of the best person available at a position of need if the scores are similar.
Okay, third round, you're going to do your scientific analysis, bring out your computers and everything, and do your work. So, whoosh, what positions attract you the most? If I can't get an answer out of you,
no, I got
what attracts you the most?
Well, attracts me the most is a Latina about yay tall that has got okay. But that's
and we could play her too, but I want to know what position, given our schemes, what you've heard about them, our needs, what would attract, say your little computer spits out two names. One is a line. I'm going to have to walk you down the primrose path.
Okay.
One is a linebacker and one is a corner. Which do you choose?
I want a linebacker.
Okay. That's what I wanted to hear. I just want to hear some kind of position. And me, if I only had that third round pick to start with, it would be a linebacker. It would have to be.
Yeah.
I can't impress about how much I'm putting on seeing whether Graham and his staff can actually give Raiders real linebackers, something they haven't had in decades. And by the way, someone was saying about the Seahawks not having good running backs. I think that the Seahawks fans would beg to differ with Chris Carson and Penny actually being healthy for 16 games. Oh, what love. I think Chris Carson and Penny, they're not hurting at running back. That's not what their need is. Okay.
Mhm.
But they haven't had any luck up there with tight end, have they, Captain? I mean,
No.
did he go through Jimmy Graham?
Right. I was going to say Jimmy Graham was the last great tight end that they've had that I can remember.
He went up there and disappeared in their offense. I mean,
Right.
every tight end that's ever gone to Seattle. Now, Russ is gone.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been Russ who wasn't looking for a tight end. It could be. We don't know. We don't know.
If it's Russ that needs a tight end, they actually got rid of one to get him, i.e. the Donkeys. They got rid of a very good tight end to get him. So that's one less tight end that they do have. However, they have a tight end there, and Richie Riche would probably know. It's a very hard to pronounce African descent name. I can't remember what the guy's name is, but he's a very good tight end. He's a wonderful guy, catch and block. So that guy,
I just didn't see Russ using him the way I've seen other quarterbacks use tight ends in general. It just didn't seem to me like he really appreciated what that position to do. Maybe in Denver with that O-line, with that leaky O-line he has, maybe he'll learn. I mean, we don't know. Now, Captain, I want to move right in to our stroll down memory lane with the draft picks.
I'm on a stroll with
Peggy. And
Peggy.
I'd like everybody in the audience to help us out a little bit here, because what we're doing is we're going back to the year 2000, going in the time tunnel and looking at all the Raider first round picks, and we want a grade. That's what I want from you, Captain. A grade given their performance with our team.
Okay.
Ooh, I'm making it really tough now, right? And I'm going to start right at 2000 with Sebastian Janikowski. Give me a grade.
A++++.
You loved him.
Yeah, and people hated the pick, but remember, he is the Raiders' all-time points leader.
Mm-hmm.
The Raiders were a playoff team or a playoff caliber team at the time, and they had kickers like Joe Nedney.
Oh, it was Nedney. Yeah, I had a discussion about him when he was here. Yeah, I mean, I would have given Janikowski an A, except I towards the middle to the end of his career, I don't know what was going on. I heard some rumors, but he became a little spotty and inconsistent towards the end of his career, and nobody wanted to admit it. The Emperor didn't, the Emperor, had clothes on. I couldn't convince him. He was naked, so I'm gonna give him a B.
Okay, but wait a second, Peggy. Let's stop that for a second. You said towards the end of his career, and he was a Raider for what, 17 years or so?
I started noticing it around 2008, 2009.
Wow.
And coincidentally, I mean, Janikowski never ranked in the top 10 kickers in the league any year he played. Did you know that?
Yes.
He was a hero. He was a hero to us.
Exactly. And that's why
he had a hell of a foot. I mean, if anybody was going to kick a 70-yard field goal, it would have been him. But his medium and sometimes even short range got really spotty.
But see, that's the reason why everybody says that Janikowski is a Hall of Famer. I said, no way in hell he's a Hall of Famer.
He can't.
He's a Raider great, but he's not a Hall of Famer, because if you're going to put somebody in the Hall of Famer, they have to be great. And that's why I said the dude that was the kicker for the Pats and the Colts, if they're going to have a kicker in the Hall of Fame next, it's going to be that guy. And I can't remember his name too.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, and I believe though that Janikowski though was beloved, and I understand all of that. Oops, somebody over there even used the D word, and wait a minute, MC Rebel Heart, I heard that too. I heard a whole bunch of things about Janikowski that really impacted his performance, but I'm going to give him an overall B. Let's move to 2001, Derrick Gibson. You can't, if you can, folks out there, anybody that can remember Derrick Gibson, raise your hand.
Derrick Gibson, Florida State.
Right. Go ahead. Give me a grade. He spent 5 years with the Raiders.
Right.
And was out of football.
Because he's from Florida State, he gets an F.
He gets an F. We are not having a spelling contest here. We are trying to give our best evaluation of their overall performance while they were wearing the silver and black. What you got on Derrick? He tried for his little 5 years. It was so bad that never mind. When they decided that they would rather play a safety in his corner spot by the end of his career. So what do you get? What grade do you give him overall?
An F. I wasn't kidding.
Oh my God. And I have to concur in that he never lived up to the hype. I mean, I think it was Al really, really trying to get those 2 lockdown corners, and he thought him and the next guy I'm going to mention.
Wait. Let me guess. Foxtrot Whiskey?
I don't know who that is.
Baby in Washington?
Oh, you're skipping a great one.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry because
but remember, excuse me, those were both in 2001. 2002 we had 2 picks. Remember, because one of them was from the Bucks, right?
Right. We got Nnamdi and we got Tyler Brayton, correct?
No. I still think we're skipping one. 2002 we had 2 picks, right? Philip Buchanan.
Philip giveth and Philip taketh away. From the U, as in, what the hell are you thinking, Philip Buchanan?
I thought I saw so much talent and no brains to match. I mean, the football IQ just wasn't there.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I was stunned that he had so much raw talent. I think he even did kick returning duties too, didn't he?
Yeah, he was on special teams. He would do punt returns, and like I said, and I swear this is what I would say about Philip. Just like the Bible, from the U, baby, Philip giveth, and Philip taketh away. Because what Philip would get, I remember a game, and I can't remember which game it was. He had an interception at the right time when we needed an interception, right? He would get an interception, and then in the process of getting the interception, he would draw a personal foul. You remember the game? He had an interception.
Listen, I was there.
Okay, what game was it? I remember the game, but he had an interception and got a personal foul for taunting.
Yes. He threw the ball to the guy because he thought the guy tackled him out of bounds. I'm seeing it rewinding in my head, but there were other things about Phillip, like, wide receivers having cushions so wide on him that he never closed, even though he had the speed. I couldn't understand it. This guy has speed. So why isn't he closing these gaps? I mean, the guys would whish right by him, and I couldn't understand. Give me a grade, Philip Buchanan.
I'll be kind, and because he did some things. The times we did some things, I'm gonna give him a C-.
Yeah, and I'm going to give him a C too. I mean, bless his heart, he tried with every team that he was with.
Yeah.
And of course, our second pick in 2002, Napoleon Harris, linebacker.
Yeah, one of the Napoleon Club, because we had Kaufman, we had Harris, and then we had another Napoleon as well, because we've had 3 Napoleons. Harris was a decent linebacker.
I thought he was decent.
I'm going to give him a C as well for his time on board. He wasn't great. He didn't suck. A solid C.
No, I didn't really see much what he was lacking except good coaching.
Yeah.
I really felt like a lot of our players, especially in that period, 2003 to 2012, 13, 14, they looked lost.
Yeah.
Didn't they to you?
And the bad thing was the kid was from Northwestern, so he had a brain.
And he had pedigree. Okay. And, his dad played in the NFL. So, I mean, I don't know why he did not work out. We'll have to give him a C as well. And now we moved on to the 2003 draft. Al's still trying to find those corners. And of course, he thought he had it with Philip Buchanan and this next guy. And of course, that's Nnamdi.
Yeah.
Give me a grade on that pick.
With the Raiders, I'm going to give him a under the system and what we did with him. I'm going to give him an A, because it wasn't Nnamdi. That Nnamdi played well within our system, and he was fantastic. Well, actually, I take it back. The first couple years, it took him a while to spin up, but when he was there, he was a solid A performer, and you saw it. But there was such a drop off when he went to the Eagles, because they had,
and it wasn't Nnamdi, and
right.
That's, I knew you were going to try to tell that story, because
no, it was the system. He was playing. He's a man-to-man corner in his zone,
and in his zone, and not only that, I mean, he was playing with Crow Marty, remember, and he was playing with one other guy, and those are 3 guys that were top corners in the game. I saw such a waste of personnel, so bad that the guy coach, his name was Jimmy somebody, he got fired after that season. It was such a waste of talent.
Are you talking about Jimmy Johnson, the other Jimmy Johnson of the Eagles defensive coach?
He was a corner coach. He was a DB coach.
Oh,
his name
okay,
was Jimmy. And they fired him. It was such a misuse of talent. But by that time, Nnamdi seemed to have lost interest in playing now, didn't he?
Yeah.
He had good reason, right?
You know what, though? I will give Nnamdi an A+++ in marriage.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. He suddenly lost interest in the game and has never been seen since, except on the silver screen.
If I was married to Kerry Washington, I would not worry about that, because the young lady is awesome looking and got money. I wouldn't have a care in the world, because I got a beautiful wife who's making me money, or not making me money, but making money for the house. I'm good.
I mean, that's basically what happened. And then, of course, the second pick in the first round, 2003, Tyler Brayton.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about Tyler Brayton, another forgettable one.
I remember that. I remember that they tried to make him and Gerald Irons Jr. linebackers, and they were big and slow. You remember that? They tried to make them both linebackers?
Only thing I remember is the Raiders could not stop the run for 6 straight years. Go ahead.
Yep. And the other thing about Tyler Brayton was involved in the Seahawks game of a NAD incident.
Oh, okay. And see, I know that Brayton, he's listed as a defensive end, but
right.
I know that they tried him at defensive end. Speed. I can't, for the life of me, this is just not an Al Davis type pick.
Yeah.
I mean, the sheer talent wasn't there. And I couldn't understand. Did Al give somebody else the reins and say, okay, this year you make the first round? Since we have two of them, you make the first round. What happened? I mean, this is not an Al Davis pick.
Yeah, no, I you know, you might have something there. I might ask John Kingdon that, because John was
in
always
no way resembles. I mean,
right.
The speed wasn't there, and you know Al loves speed, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons they tried to convert him to linebacker, because as a DE, I mean, he just wasn't even getting off the line of scrimmage. And I watched. And yet this guy had about 6-7 years in the league.
Yeah, him and Gerald Irons, they tried to make linebackers, and they were like Stonehenge.
I don't know what to say, but we could not stop the run. The Raiders, 3 of the 6 years, 2004, 2005, 2007, the Raiders were 32nd against the run. It was not a good time for our defense, and definitely not for run stoppers. So give me a grade for Tyler.
I would give him a solid Delta.
Yeah. I'd give him a D2. And actually, I wanted to kind of give him a C, because I could see him really wanting to do the right thing, but his body wouldn't let him.
Like I said, I gave Harris the C because he didn't suck, but he actually did do things at times, which is why Harris got the C. Braden might have wanted to, but he just did not have the ability. And so if you're going to be kind of D+.
Yeah. And now let's move on to 2004, and one of your favorites and mine, Robert Gallery.
Old pterodactyl.
No, I actually called him Raptor.
Raptor?
Except he wasn't. He reminded me of a raptor, but he was nowhere near as vicious. What's your thoughts on Gallery? Gallery was an Al Davis pick.
Yes. Gallery had all of the props, and and everybody missed on Gallery, not just the Raiders, because everybody thought that Robert Gallery was going to be the man. And what they forgot to do in getting out the intangibles was figuring out that he didn't have any arms. He was T-Rex.
You call him T-Rex.
Yeah, T-Rex, because you need a tackle that has span. Okay?
Billy doesn't even let the discussion go on. Billy give him an F right away out the box. Well, Billy Harris.
I would say Gallery was, okay, if you're going to go as a tackle, he was a definite D.
Right. As a guard.
He was
as a guard.
As a guard, he was about a C as a guard.
Uh-huh. But nowhere near the hype.
No, nowhere near. But at least he didn't bust out like Tony Mandarich. I will give him that.
I mean, Tony Mandarich was in another zone of bust out. But people forget that Gallery was a first-round pick, and I give him a C as well. Moving on.
You know what? I like this. We're agreeing. We're agreeing a lot because we think on it. That's awesome.
2005. Here's your guy, the Fabian Washington.
Oh my God! And I always say, what now was the Fabian, because it was Fabian in the first and Route in the second. You remember that?
Oh, please! I don't even want to discuss Route. I mean, Route and football don't belong in the same discussion.
Yeah,
I mean, you blaspheme. But seriously, I think Fabian was another Al desperate pick because he saw that Gibson wasn't going to make it.
Yeah, and Fabian just was fast, but he was small. And I always think, like, if you go through the list of all the first round picks, and then you look like a 1 or 2 picks behind, because I remember one year, I think Gibson was the year that Larry Fitzgerald was on the board.
Yes, he was on the board. That's right.
Okay, so Gibson we got instead of Larry.
Fitz didn't have that blinding speed that Al liked. He did not have it. Well, we know in hindsight, I mean, you know.
Yeah, and it's like who was on the board when Aaron Rodgers, when we took somebody for Aaron Rodgers? Was it Fabian Washington? I think it was Fabian.
Yes, he was on the board. It was Fabian.
We took Fabian Washington instead of Aaron Rodgers.
Right. And Fabian, I mean, I just never saw him behave. He was another one clueless about where the ball was in the air. I mean, his technique, I couldn't understand why he could never locate the ball.
Not as bad as Hayden, though.
No, well, we get to Hayden. We're moving up there, you know. But with Washington, I couldn't understand. The ball's in the air, and he's turned the other way, and then he gets these penalties, right? Because he's not really going for the ball. The ball is over the left shoulder, and he's all on the right shoulder doing stuff. I couldn't understand it.
Yeah,
the instincts just weren't there. Fabian, I'd have to give a D. What do you got? Oh, look at Kim.
Yeah. Like I say, a D for lack of direction, Carrie.
I know. Wait a minute. Too much, Billy's like too much good weed and oak down. And yeah, we got Gallery before Fitz Desert Raider. All right, moving on to the next 2006, Michael Huff. And many, of course, said we overreached on that first rounder.
And I think Huff was an FSU kid too. No. Huff was Texas.
Texas.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Texas.
And I know. Look at Richie Rich. A penalty flag for incompetency. That was Fabian all the way. But now we're at Michael Huff.
Yeah, Huff out of Texas. I forgot. Yeah. Huff had his. Hey, I will say this. I will always remember Michael Huff getting the interception on the Al Davis Remembrance Day.
Right after he passed away on the 11th and the game was on the 12th. I know it well. I know it. I was watching that.
Because of that, actually, technically, I'm going to give him a B.
I didn't think anything was wrong with Huff until they tried to move him to corner. I really didn't.
I'm going to give him a B.
I thought he was fine as a safety. The minute they moved him to corner, disaster. He had none of the speed or the technique, and people were blaming him. And of course, it was a big fire drill back there in the secondary anyway, because not only were they running on us, they were throwing on us at will, right? 2000, this is 2006, 2007. Mm-hmm. And we now move to the 2007 draft. And of course, Jamarcus Russell. And I told people that I was going to give a lot of pushback, but I want to hear from you, Captain, first. I'm going to sit here quietly.
Let me
now,
tell
y'all
you.
Talk about yet another Raider quarterback who couldn't develop because of the piss poor coaching that we had. Go ahead.
Let me tell you a story. Did I tell you that Bruce Gradkowski and I used to hang out when I was a bouncer down here?
Was he a really short guy like they said he was?
Yeah. Bruce and I literally saw eye to eye. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And
well, you're not short.
I'm 6. Well, 5'11" and a half. Okay. So
no, they kept talking about Bruce's size.
Well, anyway, Bruce and I was a bouncer out here in Tampa, and Bruce used to come in. And and I would come and I obviously big Raider, and we talk football, and Bruce is a very cool guy. I hope to see him when I go to Pittsburgh this year. Anyway, Bruce comes in and he goes, hey Chief, because my name over at the bar was Chief. He said, hey Chief, I got something for you. I said, oh Bruce, what you got? He says, this is Bob Schlabowski. Whatever the guy's name is. I said, he is a coach at LSU. And I'm like, oh, cool. I said, hey, I need to ask you about Jamarcus Russell.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at Bruce. He looked at me. Didn't say a word, just did this.
Look, all of them are talking like that after the fact. So why didn't they warn the Raiders before the fact?
But this was immediately after the draft, and this was before the CD incident. I know you know about the CD incident.
What, where they found him playing something else instead of the game?
No. They gave him a CD.
Oh, the CD, and told him to study it, and it was blank. Yeah. I hear all those urban legends.
No, that's true, Katie. That is true.
I hear them all, and even if they are true, why didn't those same LSU coaches warn Al? Okay, and they're talking about, well, we told Al not to pick him, but he picked him anyway. That's a lie. You told Al that he's a lazy bum, that you wouldn't have drafted, his work ethic was in the toilet, and that the guy was a liar, Al wouldn't have drafted him. I mean, you have to say that. I mean, you have to be that way if you want to warn somebody off a player, okay? But to blame Jamarcus after you get him in here, all right, then you have that high school JV coaching staff that Al insisted of putting on the field, right? And then you expect Jamarcus to improve, mature, learn anything with his attitude. That was going to be a failure for everybody all the way around. That was a setup from all the way around. And I'm going to make a little nasty statement. I'm sorry if there are any Charger fans. At least Jamarcus didn't spend his time after football in jail. Okay? You want to talk about Ryan Leaf? Who was the worst, Ryan or Jamarcus? Who was the criminal and who became a businessman and stayed out of jail and stayed out of trouble after he left football? This, a guy that they said was lazy and had no work ethic. I don't know.
I'm glad Richie put that, because I said, Richie, I know what it means, but you need to make sure other people know what fig jam means.
What's that?
Richie was saying because a lot of the coaches are fig jams. Okay.
What are they? Just what?
Say, F it, I'm good, just ask me.
Well, what does that mean in the context of Jamarcus Russell?
Well,
that's what I want to know. I'm game.
You were talking about coaches and people. Yeah, because it's like,
I mean, tell the truth about the guy. Don't be talking about, I told Al, we warned Al. No, you did. You didn't warn him enough. You know how the men talk to each other. I know how men talk to each other about other men. And you can make sure that you warn a friend off of a bad player. I mean, you can make sure in no uncertain terms and words, do not pick this guy. And yet.
Well, I will say that, remember, at the time, we're talking at the end of Al's life. Okay.
Yeah.
Al saw Russell in the in whatever game, whatever, not throws, probably the Sugar Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. Fell in love with the arm and was adamant. That's who I want. And if you remember,
but that wasn't, and I hear you, but that wasn't Al's only mistake in judgment. Is what I'm trying to.
I get it. But even,
I mean, we can look at the Derrick Gibsons and the Phil Buchanans and the Tyler Brayton and Fabian Washingtons of the world.
Right. But here's the other thing, though. I'm going to say something that you will never hear again out of my mouth. Listen to this. The weasel, the man that I despise amongst most people with penises, with the last name of Kiffin.
Oh my God. You just didn't want to bring up his name. Why did you have to do it?
Because I'm going to say this. Even Lane Kiffin wanted Megatron.
Who trusts what Lane Kiffin say out of another liar? I mean, who trusts what comes out of his mouth?
If Lane Kiffin wanted Megatron, at least he saw that Jabustus wasn't the best pick.
Still, who would have listened to Lane Kiffin at that time? By that time, Al had already been, hearing stories about the guy behind his back sneaking and talking to coach. But I hear you, Richie, talking about when the teams go to the coaches to ask about the player's character. If they want to be liars this year, and I find out that they are, do you think that I'll ever give them a good word when they try to become pro coaches, or that I'll ever get another player that they coach and draft him, or ask them or recommend somebody else to draft him? No, there's too much at stake in this whole recommendation system thing. And Captain, I know you have to agree with me. Yeah. I do not believe any of these guys from LSU when they say they warned Al off Jamarcus. I don't believe them. They wanted to see.
Also, now the other thing about that staff was that was the Mad Hatter staff, and yeah, like I said, if the Mad Hatter said that the sky was blue and that the sun would come up tomorrow, I wouldn't believe him.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of fudging, but they're trying to put things on Jamarcus that he was caught in this buzzsaw action between an incompetent Raider coaching staff and an LSU staff that overhyped him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and now expectations of what? What were you going to get but a guy that was clueless about a pro style offense?
Yeah.
That's what you got.
And by the way, folks, I will say this now. For everybody that still has a jersey, and I'll admit this, I still got a Jamarcus Russell jersey. I still got a Warren Sapp jersey. I still have a couple other jerseys. Don't burn them.
No,
it's
don't.
Easy. Take the friggin' name tape off the back. You got a great Raider jersey, or put something over the back. Don't waste the jersey. You're stuck.
And the newfangled casual fans, Raider fans of today, they wouldn't recognize who the numbers were anyway.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, which is bringing me up to my next guy, our 2008 draft picks, and that's McFadden. Darren
easy.
A Razorback.
Easy. Darren McFadden is an
A. We never gave Jamarcus a grade. I bid you that. I'm going to give Jamarcus a D.
Yeah, I'll be kind of give him a D. I'll give him
because it really wasn't all his fault, and we know this. Now, McFadden.
I'll give him an A, and it's easy because Darren McFadden was number 5 at Arkansas, and his number because this was before before the days like this year where you can actually change numbers and get what you wanted. And he said he was 20. Why? Because it was 4 quarters of 5. 4 times 5 is 20. And Darren McFadden, had he not been as brittle as he was, could have been so great.
Oh, he'd been up there. I think he could have easily been up there with Emmett.
Yeah,
Barry.
Easy. An A for
did we or did we not know about the Liz Frank injury while he was at Arkansas?
I'm not sure if that was.
Oh, I know that's when the first time he got the injury, missed the whole season. Okay, we knew that he was injury prone before we drafted him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the story being told about him suddenly coming up lame, he had that Liz Frank injury in college.
Thank you, Carrie. Come back every time, honey. We love you.
Yes, got it. Good night, Carrie. But I tell you truly, I like McFadden. What I didn't like was the constant injury, and maybe it was the Raiders' fault too.
Mm-hmm.
They never were honest about his injury. We're like, when is he coming back? Oh, next week. When is he coming back? Oh, next week. He'll be back in December. And then he never shows back up for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
I don't know in that scenario who's responsible for that. I give him a B. Definitely an A for effort. When he was healthy and on the field, that guy was as good as you got.
And that's why I gave him an A, because, again, unfortunately, I'm going to look at what he did as he played.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he had the injuries, but when he played, he was always making the plays. Very rarely did he screw up. You know, he would hit the hole, he
That
would
was
block
the issue.
everything.
I mean, I just remember the disastrous 2011 season where we not only lost Al Davis, but Jason Campbell goes down, the quarterback. And right after that, McFadden goes down. And that put the entire franchise in panic mode. And decisions were made that maybe shouldn't have been made. Okay. Hugh Jackson, a really young guy at that time, was put in the position of being GM and head coach. What could you do? But I mean, I'm like, McFadden, why? You just keep going down and it doesn't even matter. You know, you just keep going down. And they just lied to us about his injury. His injury was chronic and he needed to retire.
No, don't say chronic. We were talking Jabustis again.
Oh, yeah, that's right. But we certainly needed to retire. And by the way, don't get me started on drug addicts in the NFL. Okay.
Jamarcus, you're in DC. I know you know.
Don't get me started on drug addicts and quarterbacks as drug addicts. You know, starting with Marinovich.
Marinovich.
Yeah. I mean, everybody copes in their own way, you know. But I think with Jamarcus, there was just but let's go forward.
Yes,
Our 2009 pick, poor little Darius Haywood Bay. And I love his mother, Vivian. She is a wonderful lady.
Yeah, didn't you hang out with her in Miami the one time?
Oh yeah, we were with her on many trips, and she still comes with us on Raider trips.
Well, hey,
she's still Raider Nation.
I need you to get a hold of her because I want her and the son to come up on one of these days. So that
would be nice. But Darius, what can we say? Straight out of Maryland, a local boy. I'm here in the DMV. I mean, I live literally 2 blocks away from the University of Maryland, right down the street from the stadium. And I went to at least 2 or 3 games with Darius. He could catch the ball then. That's why, and of course his speed.
Yeah.
I mean, once he got that ball, you weren't going to catch him. Al drafts him, and suddenly
he was like stone hands from unnecessary roughness. Don't throw it to stone hands. And it's unfortunate because at Maryland, like you said, at Maryland, he caught the ball.
Yes, he did. And I just couldn't figure it out, except that sometimes players go through these things in their head. The only thing I have to say here is I got to give Darius an A for character. After his career busted with the Raiders, he was never going to be that #1 receiver. He reinvented himself and went to the Pittsburgh Steelers. He played 7 years for him as a special teamer.
Yeah,
they absolutely loved him in Pittsburgh. He was a character guy. He was a leader. He worked with a lot of the young guys. He did a lot to help them keep that team together. Probably would make a good coach. But if I'm grading Darius' performance as a Raider, I got to give him a C. What you got here, Kat?
I'm actually going to give him a B.
You're going to give him a B.
I'm going to give him a, and you know that you and I have been seeing pretty much about the same on these players. I'm going to give DHB a B because he would show up for some game. He wasn't like and I know we're going to get to him, that waste product out of Alabama. I know he's coming. At least Darius would show up for a game, and maybe the next game he wouldn't show up for, whereas AC would show up for 1 and then be gone for 3. That's why
he made more frequent appearances.
Right. I'm going to give DHB a B.
Yeah, and that's fair too. I think that's a fair grade. Moving on to 2010, Orlando McClain.
Oh
See,
my goodness.
when we talk about busts, the list doesn't begin and end with Jamarcus. I mean, what
Oh,
did
you're
McClain
gonna make
not
me laugh.
do? What did McClain not do while he was a Raider?
Let me see. Well, let me see who is. I like when I think of Rolando McClain, I think of the mugshot. Do you think? Oh, we lost Peggy for a second.
I have to read you from the
okay.
wiki from McClain, and you're gonna. This is what happened between McClain and the Raiders. According to sources within the Raiders, it was reported that McClain had been kicked out of an official team meeting practice on November 29th due to an incident. McClain then went on Facebook and declared he was no longer a Raider and he was mentally done with the team, wishing that he was anywhere else but Oakland. At that point, he was waived by the Raiders. And as we know, he was out of football a couple of years. And then, of course, lo and behold, Lazarus appears in a cowboy uniform.
I would say the former Jerry Jones who gave him a gig.
And what does he do? He ganks them too, right?
And then he winds up with the almost Raiders being the Ravens because they have the R.A. Ray.
Matter of fact, the Cowboys got him from the Ravens. As a matter of fact, he didn't even play as a Raven. He retired. The Ravens signed him, and 2 weeks later, he retired.
Yeah, that's right.
Or, you never get a straight story. But
right.
He never played a game as a Raven. But he was still on the Ravens roster the next year when the Cowboys acquired him. So the Cowboys had to do the trade with the Ravens for McClain.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy turns around and does the exact same thing. At first, he's there, present, rah, rah, rah. Then he starts checking out to the point where he walks away. And that's exactly what happened. Could Al have seen that coming?
What? Now, wasn't that Al?
Al wasn't there. Al wasn't there.
I was gonna say because I remember Al's
2010. Yeah, that was Al.
Al's last pick. I know who his last pick was. You remember who was Al's last pick?
Well, I'm thinking to myself, no, I don't. I thought it was McClain, but no, I don't know.
No, it wasn't.
Well, they didn't have a first round pick in 2011 or 12. Okay.
And why?
So it must have been second round.
No,
I forgot because of Palmer, was it?
No.
It?
Well, one of them was because of Palmer. Al's last pick was Terrell Pryor.
Oh, that's correct. And was that one of those supplemental babies?
It was a supplemental pick.
Yeah. And so but you know how Al was all impressed with speed. But wait a minute. What grade do you give McClain?
Oh, McClain as a Raider? Let me see. What
He's a decent guy. The Raiders still couldn't stop the run, but they weren't worse.
Yeah, but he didn't really perform. I mean, he was a head case. He didn't perform. I will be kind and give him a Delta plus.
I give him a C, and I think that he was just one of those sheer talented guys that just didn't have his head together. I don't know the reason why, but it's just his head was just all messed up. So we don't have a first round in 2011 or 12.
Because of Carson Palmer, and then we picked Pryor with the supplemental, so that's why we didn't have that other pick.
Right, and we go to 2013, DJ Hayden. Captain, can you please tell me why you would draft a man who had his chest cracked open?
Did you see me patting my heart? Did you see me patting my heart?
First round.
If you're gonna draft somebody who has a heart problem, draft me.
There's plenty of ICU wards up and down the East Coast. But let me go there with what the Raiders were faced with. Al's gone. 3 blind mice were in charge of the franchise.
Mhm.
Neither the owner, nor the GM, nor the head coach had 1 day of experience in their position. They were all 3 brand new. Never, ever, ever in the history of the NFL has anybody undertaken that kind of suicide mission. So, Reggie's first pick. He's supposed to be this guru that learned at the foot of Ron Wolf. Am I right? In
Yep.
Green Bay?
Yep.
Am I right?
Yep.
And I believe Wolf was the one that may have, or was he passed away by then? I'm not sure.
No, he was still there. Still
So I'm pretty sure maybe he was the one that recommended Reggie.
there. Hey, but I will say this, though. I will say this. The only positive thing you can say about Hayden was that the Raiders didn't pick him at number 3.
I know. You see, you've been liking numbers a lot today. I'm gonna send you a big number in the mail.
No, and I remember this because I was in Gitmo and I waited, and the Raiders had the 3rd pick in the draft. And what did they do? They traded with Miami, and Miami picked the dude that we had on our team a couple years ago who played defensive end. I can't remember his name, but they dropped down. I think the number
12.
Yeah, okay.
Hayden was 12.
Okay, so there you go. So at least they didn't pick him at number 3. They did pick him at number 12.
But
That's
you know Reggie would have done it. If Reggie had still had that 3, he would have picked it. He would have picked DJ Hayden anyway. Give me a grade on DJ.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you, by the way, Pyro. Salute to you. Remember, like, share, please. Like, share. Peggy deserves a bigger audience. Okay.
Well, and you know, a lot of it has to do with the off season, and you know, we understand that it's really tough to get following unless you have a professional PR staff working on building audience. That's a job all by itself, and Captain, we haven't done a good enough job in doing that, but that's okay because sooner or later we're gonna catch on, and especially when we have KEVLAR, my ride or die partner KEVLAR here with me. It always turns out fantastic. She gives us 2 balance, you know, and it'd be better if our other partner Angry was here as well.
Well, you remember, see, KEVLAR is kind of like that. It's kind of like the Japanese guy in Major League 2.
Salute, Pyro.
You have no marbles. You know, she'd be like, no marbles. You know, but that would be her.
Give me a grade for DJ now. Come on, Captain.
Because DJ starts.
I know you're trying to stretch it in 2 hours, and I'm trying not to.
I'm sorry, I'm just being me. DJ gets a solid D for DJ.
Oh my God, I'm gonna do more because once again, at this point in the Raiders franchise history, I trust no coaches. I trust no GMs. I trust no one to have the expertise to develop these players once they get drafted. I'm going to give them a C. I'm give them a C.
But wait a second.
There's no one. Dennis Allen? Really?
Okay.
Dennis Allen?
But wait a second. We're talking about performance on the field. DJ, just like old boy who can't, like Fabian, who can't figure out where the friggin' ball is.
I know.
And DJ would run over somebody.
I know.
Run over somebody and still couldn't find the ball. A solid D.
True, yeah.
A solid D, Peggy. Come on.
I'm going to give him a C because the poor thing would never had a chance to learn. And we're moving on to 2014. And of course, Khalil Mack. Give me a grade. I don't want to discuss him. Give me a grade.
With the Raiders, I'm going to give Khalil Mack an A.
He's the only one that gets an A+ for me. His performance while he was there, as a matter of fact, it's never going to match it again. Okay? The 4 years he spent with the Raiders were the 4 best years of his career. And we're going to see that with the Chargers, I believe.
I don't know about that, but you will never see me wear a Khalil Mack jersey until he's retired. And I got a lot of them.
Right.
in my
And
closet, but I won't wear them until he's retired. Then I will
he
break out.
still had the 4 best years as a Raider, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
stand by that. All right,
Definitely. That's not
let's go
hating.
to
That's
the 2015 draft.
is that
Amari
my boy?
Cooper.
Is that my boy?
That's your boy.
Yeah,
That's your
boy.
boy.
AC. Remember, it was ACDC. No way. Like I said, Amari Cooper, one great game, disappears for 3. One great game, disappears for 3. So basically, in a 16-game season, you're going to have 4 great games from Amari Cooper.
And you always wonder, Captain, where did he disappear to? I mean, he was out on the field. Like, I don't know. Where did he go? I'm going to tell you the day that I was through with Amari Cooper.
Oh, I hear
And
that.
that was September 13th, 2018, opening day in Tennessee. Derek Carr threw to Amari Cooper 3 straight times. First and goal, second and goal, third and goal. He dropped all 3. Had to kick a field goal. I was done right there at that moment with Mr. Cooper. I did not get, not 2018, I'm sorry, 2017, the opening day of the 2017 season. I was done because to me, that's the way our season went from then on.
Yeah.
Guys on the team giving, half-ass effort, a coach, offensive coordinator, and a defensive coordinator mailing it in. And I got to I'm just being generous, trying not to be nasty. I'll give Cooper a C.
Right? Was I thinking? I was thinking the same thing.
There's no question about it. The boy has no heart. He's a punk.
Right. And I remember the game that he had against San Diego, because they were San Diego at the time. They were the actual San Diego Chargers. And he just ran by people, and he had those, the one great, he was just in line. And the great one game that he showed up, like I said, that fantastic game against the Chargers, I remember it. But I also remember literally him getting his head stomped by the Bengals.
Oh,
and
twice, 2 straight years. I mean, in Denver.
yeah. He got Pac-Man Jones went and had it, and it was Bam in it, and he had no heart. So I will be kind. AC gets a C.
He gets a C because we know he has talent.
Yeah.
And let me tell you the other moment that the other got me suspicious. And I wish there was a way I could display pictures. The day he signed for the Raiders back in 2015, he took a picture with a coach. And his face looked like his lip was all turned up, like he was smelling something bad.
Yeah, I remember that. I
remember that picture, and somebody told me, "Oh, that's the gangster grimace." I said, "No, he's smelling something bad. Is it the contract?" I just couldn't help but think that. And from then on, I had my eye on that boy.
Yeah,
because I'm like, you just signed your first NFL contract. Why is there not a big smile on your face? That's the kind of guy he is. And of course, wait a minute, Captain. Just before we move on, you heard the gossip about what he said about Dak, that made the Cowboys choose him to be the one to get traded. You heard? Oh, you didn't hear what he said about Dak?
No.
That he was the black Kirk Cousins in the locker room in front of the players. That's what Cooper called Dak.
The black Kirk Cousins. Ooh.
And at first I didn't pay attention to it because, there's a lot of gossip. You men gossip way more than we do. But then I kept hearing it from increasingly reliable sources that it really pissed off his teammates.
Yeah, I'm
to
sure.
The point when there was an eeny, meeny, miny, mo, which of my wide receivers has to go?
And it would be, and I wouldn't even go mini. It'd be like eeny, meeny, miny. And remember, I'm pointing right at you. Eeny, meeny, miny. I'm gonna trade Amari Cooper. You are it.
He was gone.
Yeah.
Okay. And I understand that the other teammates were really, really upset. Moving on, we're getting up there, folks. Moving on to 2016, another Reggie mystery, Carl Joseph was our first round pick.
I'm actually
at number 14.
I'm gonna actually
14.
Yeah, I remember that because I remember that pick. I was in Vegas because that's when I bought my timeshare in Vegas. Because that's when they announced that the Raiders were coming to Vegas. Yeah, Carl Joseph.
William Brown gives Carl a C. You drafted him as a strong safety, did you not?
Yeah.
So why is he 5'10", 185 pounds? Please.
Because somebody was looking
and you
at his
expected
stats.
him to cover tight end.
They were looking at his stats and they thought it was 10'5".
Okay. Look at that. They were doing that Middle Eastern thing, right? Reading from left to right or something.
Yeah. It was Hebrew and
right to left, right.
Yeah, right to left. Dyslexia. So yeah, they thought he was 10'5". He said, "Well, this guy,
we gotta have him, you know.
Gotta have him." West Virginia, folks. He had all the intangibles. But I mean, you know what? I'm gonna be kind with him. For time with the Raiders, I'm gonna give him a solid B.
I just felt like he was so undersized and he really didn't have a chance. But I like his heart. And let me tell you, he did way more with the Cleveland Browns in terms of turnovers than he ever did with us.
Yep.
I was shocked by the numbers of turnovers that he got and forced fumbles and stuff. And I'm like, how come we didn't see that here?
Yeah.
Because he was too tiny. He was getting trampled by offensive linemen. Okay? Because we didn't have no D-line on to add to that. But I'll give Joseph a C. I know it wasn't lack of effort. Okay? The poor thing was just outmatched.
Really? And he played special teams too, and he was I like
really a little efficient little player.
Yeah, I gave a B.
Right, and now we move to 2017 once again. Reggie is still eating his key lime pie and drinking coffee, right, with something mixed in it, and he gives us Garyon Conley. And I know
from
Ohio State.
Ohio State University. And I'm gonna do this. Okay. I'm putting I'll make it real easily because I'm gonna do Conley and Arnett in one. He's gonna
do Arnett too. He's gonna give us a twofer.
I'm gonna give you a twofer. I'm gonna give you a not just an F. No. I'm gonna give you a G for Garyon Conley. He's below F. He gets a G for god awful.
Right.
And Damon Arnett, I'm going to give you a Z because he's sporting his guns and all this stuff from the Ohio State University.
No, the D for this case is for just dumb. But I want to go back to Conley. Not only was Conley injured at the time that he was drafted,
right?
But Conley was going through those legal troubles. Remember?
Yep. There was
an issue with a young lady or something.
Yep, they swept him.
And Reggie just insisted we've examined his legal problems and he's it's not going to be an issue. I'm like, why take the chance? I mean, I kept saying to myself, are the Raiders a team that can afford to have the possibility that their first round pick can't play? And then the guy had an operation, right? Remember?
Yeah.
And still couldn't play after the operation. Let's say it, boys and girls, all at one time. Shin splints. splints. Not an injury to be laughed at, by the way.
Nope.
But nevertheless, the Raiders knew about those shin splints too, because remember, there was a tweet war between the Raiders and Conley on how injured was he. Remember?
That sounds like a Johnny Carson skit. He's injured.
Yeah,
How injured is he? You know, it's like,
can he stand up?
Yep.
I mean, come on, Captain. I mean, if Reggie wanted to just put this team into the trash can,
right,
he did it with that pick. And that was really a makeup pick from the mess up of DJ HEIDI.
Right.
Think about it. I mean, that was like, we're almost in a deja vu. That was Fabian Washington being picked because Gibson was a bust. Okay, we're still talking first round. All of these guys are first round picks, valuable to any franchise not doing well like the Raiders. Give me a grade for Conley for the little bit of time. By the way, he is the man that did have our very last pick 6.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'll be kind, but it's a straight F. Not even a passing grade. At least even a D, you don't fail. Gary and Conley, and like I said, is a failure.
And it gets worse.
Yeah.
Conley has not played a game in the NFL since the 2019 season. He played in neither 2020 nor 2021. You see, when the Raiders just couldn't afford to be that wrong at this time about a player. But that was all Reggie. And I don't know. I know it. I don't know why. I mean, Reggie is just a nice guy. Everybody likes him. He's one of those guys that is going to be passed around to many teams before his career is over. Everybody likes him. That's not the problem.
If they can understand him, if they can understand Marble Mouth, because and again, Reggie is Reggie is a very nice guy. I had him sign very my helmet without issue. I was in the Hilton, gave him my helmet, and he signed it. Great guy.
2 years in a row at the Commitment to Excellence dinner, he actually came to my table and sat down and talked to it. I would think a pretty good football mind.
Yeah.
But I could just, it just was clueless. I said, was somebody paying him? My mind went through a lot of things going on. But let's move on to our next year's pick, which is 2018 Colton Miller. Give me a grade.
I'm going to be kind. And actually, from everything that I've seen, I'm giving Colton an A because he has, he didn't start well, but everything that we've seen, he's still ascending. He is a prototype, and he's a stalwart on that offensive line. Colton Miller gets an A.
Now, thank you, William and Billy, for hanging in there with us, and Matt Marinovich too. And I have to give Colton an A too. The way he came back from his rookie season, I mean, he was like the bottom 5 offensive tackles in the league, and he went to like top 20 the very next year. And he's been up there. He's been a steady presence ever since. I think we did well with him. Let's go to 2019. We had 2 first-round picks, Cleveland Farrell, who, by the way, is still on the Raider roster.
And that might be, you were talking about who's collateral? Who's collateral?
Mm-hmm.
He might be one of those collateral players.
Thank you, Willie Wayne. We agree about Colton. Definitely a hard worker.
Yeah.
Come on, let's come out with it, Cleveland Farrell. And we've talked about Farrell over the season.
C.
I think he's been abused.
I'm giving him a C because he's been solid at times. He's been forgotten at times. He doesn't totally suck, but
Gruden definitely messed with his head.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no question in my mind that Gruden and that entire staff Marinelli messed with his head.
I
Very
agree.
misused, very misunderstood. And I think, quite frankly, they were a little bit of a sour grapes because he didn't turn out to be that replacement for Mack, okay, that
Yeah.
they were hoping that he was. But they got one anyway, Max Crosby. So why
Right.
are you mad? You know, it was personal. And I'm glad. I mean, he may not survive the camps, but I'm glad that at least the Patriots just didn't outright cut him like they did to Littleton and all those other guys. They said, let's keep this guy around. Let's see what he can do.
And
Okay.
I actually think if he isn't moved for the draft this year, I think that we're going to get a good year out of Farrell because he's at the end of his contract. This is his time to shine. I think that he will do a lot better in Graham's defense this year.
I hope so, because I just, once again, like a lot of these names that I've named out, I can't really say, where the problem was. Some of them you can. I mean, obviously, things like hands of stone, you know about. But you can't really say because the Raiders coaching staff was just so incompetent.
Mm-hmm.
There was just no attempt to develop these players and give them a scheme that brought out their best talents. And for that reason, I'm going to give Farrell a C as well so far, but I think he can rise to a B or A. 2018 second pick, Josh Jacobs.
With the Raiders, I'm giving Josh same thing with. I'm going to give him the same thing I get with McFadden. A, because every time that he's been able to play, for the most part, other than not falling on the ball in New York when he could have, and that fumble that could have saved that game, I'm giving Josh Jacobs a definitive A.
I'm giving Josh an A. Let's say this way, a B plus. And I'm gonna tell you why he lost that A for me.
Okay.
Was that tweet he made last year when the Raiders were doing really well between the Denver and the Eagle game right after Gruden got fired. Remember, he makes this tweet about being taken out of the game, and he wasn't hurt. You remember that he wasn't hurt, and he was taken out of the game. And it all started to me because of jealousy about Kenyon Drake being used a lot more.
Okay.
And I felt that was the wrong time for Josh to start that, ugly player thing going on.
Okay. Well, I mean, and I can see that. I didn't recall that.
I thought that was divisive and not helpful at the time that he did it, right after Gruden, resigned.
Yeah. They
needed to come together. They did it. Somebody got in his head later, and he shut up. But you should have seen those tweets. I just, and also I don't like his first step. It's not quick enough for me. He doesn't go through the hole quick enough for me.
Okay.
But that could be, the combination of injuries, whatnot. I wouldn't put him in the top. I used to put him in the top 10 of runners in the league. Not anymore.
No, I wouldn't have him that high. Like I said, he is. That's why for us he's an A. But still, if you got 32 teams, I think he's about within like the 11 through 16 mark. He's top of the league.
Yeah.
Not out the top 10.
No, definitely not top 10. There's better backs, and I think that by bringing in all the backs that McDaniels and Ziegler have brought in, I think we're going to find out something. Because they must have seen the same thing I saw about that first step. I'm telling you, it does not hit those holes fast enough. One of the reasons why we had to wait till November till our first 100-yard game. But
that was
moving on.
And that was with Barber.
Yeah. Was that Barber? That's right. It still wasn't Josh. Josh didn't get his until December.
Yeah, it was Barber.
I don't think Josh got his first 100-yard game until December.
Yep.
That's what B plus. Moving on. Second pick in 2019, Jonathan Abrams. Oh, poor little thing. Poor little thing.
Man, I it's almost incomplete. And I'll be honest, there's one incomplete grade coming in that you'll hear from me in a minute. But Jonathan Abram is almost an incomplete. I'm gonna give him a B-.
Tough. I can see the effort. You
Yeah.
know, I can see the young man making the effort. He just, I don't know whether it's coaching, but he just don't have that instinct, that football instinct of being in the right place at the right time. I guess it takes time in some players. It takes having mentors around you, veteran mentors, something that the Raider secondary has not had. They don't have a Charles Woodson there. I mean, even when Woodson was at the end of his career, he always was where the ball was. I mean, it was just like instinct for him. And it was always instinct for him from day one, really.
Yeah.
Poor little Abrams.
That's why, see, he's like the C+ B- grade for me.
Yeah, I agree with you. C+. I want to give him a B so bad because he tries so hard. He tries so hard, in fact, that he gets hurt. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then he makes stupid penalties, which, by the way, he eliminated last year. You notice that?
Yes, he did.
No more stupid penalties. Okay? Let's give Bradley credit for that, calming the young man down. I still think he has a role to play. He's a role player. He's not a starter.
Yep, I agree there
He's
too.
He's a package. I saw that like 2 years ago. He belongs as part of a package, and you need to teach him how to blitz. Because I'm telling you, you turn Abrams into a one of those, package blitzers.
Like a Palomalu?
Yes. I mean, why is it I'm the only one that can see this?
I saw it. You come in and first off, don't put him back there because he ain't going to cover anybody. You got to have him close to the line of scrimmage. Use him as a free blitzer or somebody that's going to take the tight end or the running back quickly, and that's it. That's a package guy.
And don't ask him to think about what's coming next. That's why you bring him in second and long, third and long. That's the kind of guy you bring in. Yep. And we can teach him how to blitz, how to avoid and get around, get through that slot between the tackle and the guard. Somebody can teach, Lawrence Taylor can teach him how to blitz. I'm telling you, he could be a real monster. He could really blow up fast. And of course, I've been saying all along, the Raiders are the only team that don't have a blitzing linebacker.
No,
they're the only team in the NFL.
Maybe they'll figure that out this year.
I don't know what Graham's thinking about, but we give him a C. Let's go right to, unfortunately, I have to go to 2020, Henry Ruggs.
And that's my incomplete.
That's incomplete.
That's my
I agree
incomplete.
With you.
Because he showed a lot of promise and was getting up there.
Things were coming together for him. And unfortunately, we will never know. Mm-hmm. Never. How that was going to come out. Scope Minor, we've already talked about Arnett. Gets a D for dumb for me. And then, of course, 2021, our final pick of the night, Mr. Leatherwood.
And he gets another, I forgot about, because I was thinking Ruggs incomplete from the actions. Leatherwood is incomplete as well, because again, he hasn't shown enough for a grade. He really, and I'm sorry, I can't.
And you're right.
I can't fail him. I can't give him a high grade.
Didn't know anything. It showed. It showed. They had to move him from his intended position at right tackle to guard. Right. And there was nothing they could do. It reminded you of Gallery, didn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does.
I mean, when you see a guy that you had intended, right, to be, I've got something on my, anyway, a guy that you intended to start as a tackle become a guard.
Yeah,
Your
but
problem.
see, I mean, here's the thing, though. And again, you saw it and I saw it. It's unfortunate, but there's still some time. There's still some time to see what we have. He might not pan at that tackle. He might not pan, but I still think he has a legitimate career as a bruising guard. And I think he'll be better than Gallery in that respect because the kid can actually move and he can pancake people. Okay. He might still pan out a tackle. I don't think he will, but I still think that he's got a great future at guard interior. And I that's why, but it's still incomplete because we don't know yet. But I still think that we're
No,
going
we
to
don't.
give him an incomplete. Ruggs would have been on the ascension, but he gets an
Oh
incomplete.
man, I mean, I was just so heartbroken because things were coming together. Carr was starting to look very confident. He was making some really good selections because Ruggs was really uncovering Renfro, Waller, and Edwards. That's how scared they were of Ruggs. I mean, the kind of speed that guy had, people were scared of him. I mean, who couldn't have been after watching that? Remember the Jets game back in 2020? That last, because we sure were going to lose to the and whatever Jets. And then all of a sudden that bomb to Ruggs in the last 7 seconds.
Yeah, something like. And the thing is that the play before Aguilar didn't quite get that catch, and
Right.
the very next play, see, I have a decent memory, but for things
Right.
the
Yeah,
things that matter to me,
for middle-aged people, we pretty
things that matter to me. Aguilar, the play before, didn't quite have that catch. I think it might have been either he was a drop or like it was out of the end zone, or it was like just off the fingertips or something like that. And the very next play, they run cover zero.
That got that DC fired. One of my favorite DCs, by the way, got fired down that play. I mean, but see, that kind of speed scares people. It really does. Because they're thinking, even if the ball's not intended to go to him, what if they decide to throw it to him because he's open? Because we left him open.
Yeah.
They can't take the chance. They have to double him up every time. And
I think even back last year in Pittsburgh, just the way that he just fell under that ball that Carr had. I think it was the longest. I
thought he had great hands. I thought he could really. Ruggs really could catch the ball. His hands were like a basket. And I saw those things come together for him, and it just broke my heart. Yeah. I said, that's the kind of luck the Raiders have had. I mean, we've reviewed all of our draft picks since 2000. We have some winners, right? I mean, we have some A's. We have Janikowski, Namdi, right? We can almost put McFadden in that with minus injury.
I put McFadden in there as an A.
Mack and Colton Miller.
Yeah.
5 out of 20 years ain't bad.
Yeah.
5 good picks out of 20 years. But you see,
it's when you really screw up that everybody says that we can't draft well. And it's unfortunate. But you know what, Peggy? Honestly, if you go through 20 years of a draft for any team, I really think you're probably going to be about the same. You're going to have 1/4 of those guys that pan out, and the other 3/4 are, we've given, like, most of them were C's and failures. Okay, there's going to be picks like that. Maybe the other teams don't get as many failures.
No, they don't. And this is what I don't see a lot of teams doing: drafting to replace the bad draft pick you just had 2 or 3 years ago. You see, the Raiders have done that repeatedly.
Yeah.
Especially with the corners. The corner thing going on. I mean, if you count how many 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, Hayden 6. I mean, we're Conley 7 corners in 20 years.
You shouldn't have one
first
30-year
round.
draft. Yeah, you shouldn't have one 30-year draft in 20 years be cornerback.
Right, because you messed up on the pick 2 years earlier, and then you got to come back 2 years later and pick for that same position, and then 2 years later you got to go back and do it again, and that's what happened to the Raiders. I mean, with that string of Gibson, Buchanan, Fabian Washington, you just can't have that. Conley and DJ Hayden. You absolutely cannot do that and survive. I mean, and be a winning franchise. One of those guys between Gibson, Washington, Buchanan needed to be Pro Bowl caliber. We needed them to be the starting corner for the next 7-8 years, and it just didn't work out. I mean, we got Nnamdi, but then Al didn't want to pay Nnamdi, right? But Nnamdi messed up his own career. I'm not saying for what happened to him with the Eagles, but you see this continuous drafting to fix mistakes. That's what's happened to the Raiders, and that's.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
That's why I said BPA in a position of need.
We'll see what happens 3rd round next Thursday.
Or second.
No, we have to and first, I take it back. We have to wait until Friday before we get our first pick. Yeah. And so that's how it will work. I'm not filling in the next 12 minutes. I've got to run.
No, honey, please go.
We love you, Billy. Thank you for hanging in there. And with us, you're the only one hanging, at least commenting. Anybody that's out there, listen, he said Peggy wants a DT. Billy, Peggy wanted a DT 1st or 2nd round. She don't want DTs that are leftovers. She don't eat leftovers.
Well, but remember though as well, Crosby was what, a 4?
I think so. I think he was.
Crosby was a 4. I think Renfro was a 5.
I'm thinking about Crosby now.
Hobbs was a 4 as well.
Oh, he was, and there are a lot of things. Like for instance, Gabe Jackson was a 3rd rounder. I mean, who knew? I mean, he was gonna be around, but once again, Max was a 4th rounder. You are correct, 2019 4th rounder. But I really, you got to be really, really lucky. Hey, Bishop, you got to be really, really lucky to strike on the third through 7th round. You saw me read those stats of the rates of attrition year to year. The higher in round you got, okay? I mean, the lower in round you got. Say 3. I mean, the attrition rate for 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th round just is dramatic by year 2. That's why you need, and when you look at the 1st and 2nd round picks, you're still at a 70% retention rate 5 years later.
Well, I can guarantee you that our 1st and 2nd round pick this year is going to stick around for a while.
He most certainly is. Let's just hope that we have the luck of the draw and he and Derrick have a fabulous season together. And there's no IR issues and there's no off the field issues, which is one thing that I definitely want this new coach to get a handle on. I better not hear about these young players lost in Vegas, out there with the Wolves in Vegas. There's no excuse for that. That should have already been accounted for. Hi, Maria.
Maria, we got an international audience because Maria is coming in from the República Dominicana.
Oh, very good.
Gracias por veo mi hermana Maria Sosa.
Thank you, Maria. And we wish that part, that off the field crap, would stop. We just wish that would stop. And no, we don't need any distractions like that. Thank you, Pyro. I had some fun tonight, and I got to see what Captain thought about all our draft picks.
Yeah, and we were pretty much copacetic on our. We were within like a half.
We were pretty good on that. Heidi would have loved. I mean, Kevlar would have loved talking about some of these guys for sure. But that's all right. Maybe we'll do another draft pick show. Maybe we'll review our second round picks, see how good we were on those.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad.
Thank you, Willie Wayne. And that's it for tonight.
All right, folks, again, like, share, like, please comment after the show. Peggy, and when we got her here, Heidi, and when we can get her here, Angria, we love our wenches. They are the backbone of the show. Yeah, occasionally I get a word in. But
that's cool, Kev.
Get those likes out. Share this up. These ladies need more viewers, and just like they said, Pyro says, Peggy knows her stuff. And again,
I only hang with the guys that know their stuff, and it was Captain and me instantly knew that we were going to be sharing a lot of football knowledge. I really appreciate being around him for sure.
That's it. And again, gracias Maria por veo y por mi corazón or por tu familia total. Cuídate siempre, cada día más. That's broken Spanish. I'm sorry.
No, but she'll get it. And thank you so much. I'm going to sign out. And goodbye, everyone. Thank you, Billy and Cool Kev and Pyro. Thanks for hanging in there.
Thank you. Love you, honey. Thank you for being here.
All right. Bye.
All right. There's our lady, Peggy Holmes. Thank you for that. Folks, we're gonna pop out now for everybody. Join us Thursday. Remember, I do shows Thursday. I do shows Sunday. I do shows, Tuesdays with the wenches, and also next Tuesday we'll have a show with Daniel, Chronicles of the Black Hole. Thank you for being here. Thank you for viewing. Love everybody here. Thank you for the shouts. Share, like, and get the word out. Thank you all. We will see you Thursday for the show. Y gracias también, Maria, mi hermana especial. Take care, everybody. Yeah, no Wednesday night show so far, but we still have, like I said, during the football season, make sure you are hanging with myself, Violator, and Ref Guru, okay, for the shows on Wednesday. Y'all take care. We'll see you next time. Take care of yourselves. Yarg! Take care.